Super good evening to all of you. Merry Christmas, season's greetings, happy Boxing Day. My name is Ian Fernandez, and I am a SHARAN volunteer based in Dubai. And I'm going to be your host for today. And I am super excited for that. And today I am joined by co-hosts from SHARAN, Shraddha and Sharanya. Today we have an exciting topic: how to form healthy habits. When we take control of our habits, we can take control of our life. Before I introduce the presenter for today, let me briefly introduce Sharan and about myself. Sharan stands for Sanctuary for Health and Reconnection, Animals and Nature. It is a beautiful idea that if we align ourselves with nature, we will automatically be healthy. SHARAN is founded by Dr. Nandita Shah. SHARAN follows a whole plant-based nutrition and has a 5-point plan for health. First, eat only plant-based food, which means no meat or dairy. Second, eat whole food, meaning no refined food. Third, eat organic food without chemicals. And the fourth and the fifth is check and supplement if required vitamin B12 and vitamin D. And if you follow all these 5 points, you can achieve your highest health potential. My experience with Sharan goes a long way. My life was once in a mess. Blood pressure was off the roof, cholesterol at all-time high, uric acid extremely acidic, and had a very bouncy belly as well. So I attended one of the Sharan events here in Dubai, which was called the Peas versus Pills. And that changed and transformed my life completely. Of which I just mentioned came down to normal or borderline, and I am forever grateful to this organization. So let me introduce the speaker for today. I know him for about 4 years now, and he's not only a friend, but also a mentor to me. Anytime you meet him, he's got this amazing smile on his face at all times. He's very passionate about health and loves sharing his knowledge with everyone. He heads the SHARAN Dubai team. So please join me in welcoming our energetic, handsome, and ever smiling presenter for this evening, Mr. Ram Prasad.
Okay, I wanted to quickly share my story. So my story has been that from a health perspective, in fact, it's about 20 years back, I lost my mother. And it so happened, it was just about 3 days. She had a lung infection. Suddenly it switched into intense or severe pneumonia. And at that time, there was hardly any communication. I was here, she was in India. All that I got was, she's no more. So it was a shocking thing. And I could not even know, okay, that she was not well. And suddenly all that I get is, she expired. And I couldn't know, okay, what really went wrong. So that was my first experience of health setback. The second happened after 10 years after that. So this time, again, I was working in Dubai. This time I got a call from my sister saying that father is not well, come home. I was seriously worried because she's a doctor. And if she says he's not well, then I thought I rushed home. And he was in hospital with multiple complications after suffering from diabetes for almost 25 years. I could see from close angles from the side of my sister, so many doctors were operating on him, operating in the sense, working on him, trying to control so many parameters, and nothing worked. And they could not save him, not even my sister. And the biggest question mark I had was, what was the real cause and why did he have to suffer despite my sister being a doctor? So that was my puzzle. I could never had an answer. So I came back to Dubai, a few years passed, and I got invited to an event like Sharan's event. And in that 1 hour of free talk, I got all the answers. Okay, what actually is the real cause? What actually disease happens? And the solution is also very clear. All that you have to follow is the simple Sharan's 5-point plan, and most of the diseases can be reversed in a very simple and beautiful, elegant manner. The next question to me was, okay, if that was simple, then why is that most people are not even following it? So the reason is that if the solution was available, and why is that not people adapting? So that was a surprise that again was plagued in my mind, and I never had an answer. And after a long time, I came to know, okay, people resist change. And then it is the habits which we are get enslaved to. Unless we master that, and unless we have a very strong reasons, we ourselves are not changing that. Okay, so that was the revelation has come. And that was, then I observed that, okay, some of our programs, particularly the 21-day retreats, were super hit, and almost 100% of the people gets amazing results. Again, because 21 days they spend in a retreat and they form very strong, healthy habits. So again, that got me thinking. Then we realized that, okay, if we really need to change, that's the habits is where we need to put our attention. And if we can get that right, we can form not only healthy habits, we can form any habits in any area of our life, and we can literally master our destiny. Okay, so that's how my experience with SHARAN has started. Okay, now we will move on with the experience of my SHARAN style, how I got started, and then always the importance of these habits. So from then on, I have done many programs of Dr. Nandita, attended quite a few cooking classes. I've learned a lot of cooking all myself, and I've been enjoying and following this lifestyle for more than 5 years. And to my positive surprise and pleasant surprise, my dream of completely being disease-free and then not visiting a doctor and not having to take any single medicine comes true within 1 year. And from then on, it has been a beautiful dream. And this is a lifestyle I would like encourage everyone to aspire. I'm sure many of us who do at SHARAN can also be a leading examples for you, and you can follow the same and achieve the same. Okay, so that's the quick story behind the thing. So now we'll get into understanding, okay, what exactly is a habit? Okay, this is the definition from Wikipedia. A habit says it is a routine of behavior that is repeated regularly and tends to occur subconsciously. Effectively, if you see, there are 3 parts of it. It's a series of actions, and it happens again and again and again. And many times we don't even know it's happening because it's happening automatically. So that's the positive, that's the part of it. Okay, so that's what we call habits. Okay, what are the examples of habit? Okay, we see exercise habit. Okay, wake up early, beautiful. That's a nice habit. And yeah, it can be any habits. And it can be even wrong habits. Brushing teeth, yes. We start brushing teeth or mornings. Okay, eating late, driving, morning routines. There are so many examples of habits. And in fact, did you know, I was surprised to know that most of the things we do in a day are actually done out of habit. As per one habit researcher, they told that, okay, this might vary, but most of the time we see that more than 43% of the behaviors we do every day are done out of habit. And habits can be very strong. And our brain clings to them. And because over time it becomes automatic, we don't even know that is a habit sometimes. And sometimes it happens without in our control. So habits are pretty powerful. Before we get into the habit loop, what do you think, habits are good or habits are bad? So what's your feedback? Can we have some responses as to see whether habits are good or bad? Okay, I think I've closed my chat. Okay, let me open my chat on the side. Okay, neutral. Okay, both good. Okay, some people say good. Okay, some people say depending on habit, depends on the type of habits, both. Okay, I think the right answer is both. So habits can be good and habits can be bad. And interestingly, the way we form the good habits is the same way we form bad habits. So if you want to break the bad habits and form good ones, all that you need to do is just be aware of what happens in such a habit. Okay, I think I've stopped the share. 1 second. Okay. Okay, can you see just the slides now?
Yes,
Ian?
I see.
Okay. So I think I was presenting a different application. Okay. So effectively, we now know habits can be good, habits can be bad. And so that's where we need to be very conscious on how to manage these habits. So now we'll first understand what is the pattern in which the habits are formed. Okay, understanding this is a very important part of our process to change it. Okay, this is habit researchers or habit experts or behavioral science experts. There are 3 R's. The first R is what is called reminder. You can also call it a trigger or a cue. And the second part, R, is called routine, or the habit, or the actual activity you do is called the routine or the habit. And finally, there is something called a reward. Something happens when you do every single task or activity, and that reinforces your cue that every time they trigger, you do the same thing. For example, you want to go for a jog. Okay, let me illustrate this with the help of two examples. There are two beautiful examples we can see. First example is, let's say you go for a morning jog. Okay, the one on the left. Okay, normally when do you go for a jog? Most of the times, many of us, we normally go for a jog in the morning, and some of us might be going for the evening. So, and the trigger is, okay, 6 o'clock. I want to go for a jog at 6 o'clock. We have maybe office at 7 or 8. So you want to finish your jog in the morning. So that's the trigger or a cue or a reminder. The second part is the activity of jogging, which is called the routine, the second R. And the third thing is, after you do the jogging, how do you feel? You feel really a sense of accomplishment, a sense of mood elevation. And that is your reward. The moment you get that feeling and then you feel that emotionally, then that becomes your reward, and that perpetuates the loop and completes the loop. So every time there is a 6 o'clock, every time you wake up, again, you feel that you want that reward of the rush of energy. You want that feeling of elevation and accomplishment. And of course, you know, there are positive benefits of maybe losing weight, being healthy, and being fit and energetic. So that is a habitual loop. Similarly, let's look at the second example of drinking coffee. Let's say you are in office, and the trigger could be, maybe you feel a little bit low in the energy. Or you might feel, okay, my colleague is having coffee, or they invited you for a coffee. So that could be the trigger, invitation, or you are feeling low. Whatever could be the trigger, could be different for each person. And then you get into the act of drinking coffee. Once you drink the coffee, and what is the reward? You feel that whatever is that boost of energy, it could be temporary or whatever, suddenly that caffeine helps you in give you a quick boost. It could be temporary, it can have a different problems later, but you got the quick reward, and that completes the loop. So every time someone invites you, and every time you feel energetic low, you feel that we want that quick boost of energy. So that's how that loop is formed. And in the first case is a positive loop. Second case, it might lead you onto a more difficult loop, and we may not be able to get out of it, because I see so many examples of people not being able to come out of the coffee trap. So the moment you know that you are not able to come out of it, and you feel the pain if you don't have it, which means you are addicted to that habit. Okay, that's an indirectly way of saying, okay, whether you are habituated or addicted to a particular habit. Okay, now let's move on and see what our scriptures or the ancient treatise say. For example, we borrow from our ancient knowledge, which is from Patanjali, from Yoga Sutras. And he has a very nice, beautiful sloka or sutra, you can say, on the habits. Okay, he says it goes like this. There are three parts to this. First part goes, Satutirga Kala, which means for a long time. Nairantharya, which means without a gap. And Satkaro Adaro Sevito, which means do it with honor and respect. If you do all these three, then any habit will get established firmly. Dhrudha Bhumi, which means it gets firmly established. So it has been said long back, they already understood how habits work. They already gave us a good path or a simple example on how to form our healthy habits. Okay, this is pretty important for us to follow. And if you follow this, then we'll be on a strong wicket. Now we'll get into the framework of how do we actually do the 7 steps, what we're talking about. Okay, let's get into the first step. Step number 1 is we always begin with a strong why. Anything we do, there are normally 3 important questions. Okay, what do you want to do, how you want to do, and then why you want to do. If you have good answers for all these 3, then you are on a good sailing path. Okay, and the most important these 3 are actually the why. So why means, okay, they normally say, what is your why? And there are strong reasons which drive strong actions. If your strong reason is very strong, for example, if you know Mahatma Gandhi or Teresa or Mother Teresa or Martin Luther King, their why was so strong, nothing could shake them. Okay, so their belief was so strong, they're very firmly rooted that destination can be achieved, and they believe very highly in that. So if your why is so strong, your destination or your accomplishment is almost assured. Okay, so that is the most important thing of these 3. many of us normally we focus on what you call the small activities or the tasks. For example, I have to read. Okay, just read. If you want to have to go for a jog, I just have to go for a jog. We may or may not be aware of a strong reason why we are doing that. And what is the problem with that? The problem with that is that the moment we get a small obstacle or a hurdle or a resistance, then we get away from our track. Okay, today it's raining or maybe it is cold. I don't want to get up from my bed. Then you may not get up in, because if your reason is very strong, you will get up and go whatever is the climate. Okay, that's the difference between the success and failure. So that's why the most important thing is the first important step before we start anything, we should be clear about the why. And of course, you identify, okay, what is that change needs to be changed and what part of your life needs to be changed, and you make a note of it. Okay, what you can also do is either you can make a mental note or you can make a notes right now. Make a notes for at each step, what's that you want to do in that aspect. For example, you want to change a small habit of losing weight. Losing weight, okay, and why you want to lose the weight? Do you want to get rid of any ailment like a diabetes, or you want to get rid of, you want to look good and fit, or you want to be healthy, or you want to be immune, build your immunity? Whatever your reasons, make a note of that reason, if possible right now. Maybe take a pen and paper, make a note of it, and we'll try and do a small habit meditation towards the end. We have time. Okay, so that's the why part of it. Once you're clear about the why, and then of course we set a goal. Okay, what is that we want to change, and in what aspect we want to change? So that's the thing we have identified in step number 1. Once your step number 1 is clear, then we pick what is called a small easy habit. Okay, so this habit could be as small as having a green smoothie. It could be a small thing like having a salad every single day, or sleeping a little bit of 30 minutes early, because all of us these days work so much. We normally, almost all of us are sleep deprived. We sleep much less than what is actually required. We're not having adequate rest and sleep. So this is a good habit to have. And other thing is going for exercise. Exercise is another thing we skip, and then we take for granted that we are fine till we feel a very serious need for that. So you can start the exercise with a simple 20 minutes walk. Or another beautiful thing I like is the gratitude prayer. So most of us at SHARAN believe very bigly in a very big way for the gratitude. In fact, most of us start the day. In fact, this was my habit where I started a few months back and started doing a gratitude prayer first thing in the morning. I started with 2 minutes, then extended to 5 minutes. I felt so good. Okay, now I thought, okay, I should do that for the evening also, end of the day also. So now every day, my first 5 minutes as well as the last 5 minutes of the day always are dedicated for gratitude. The first 5 minutes will give you so much hope for the day, and the last 5 minutes make sure that any stress which you have accumulated during the day does not come into your sleep, so that you will have a very restful sleep. Try this and you'll be amazed how beautifully it can be done. Okay, now I want to ask you, okay, why do we want to pick a small habit and particularly easy habit? Can someone guess what is the reason we are picking this habit? The more you understand, then it can be better. Okay, let's hear some feedback. Okay, easy to execute. Okay, says Raghunathan. And what are the other reasons? Use it to start the process. Yes, exactly. We want to have that so that we can get motivated to continue it. That's also a habit. Okay, perfect. So the reason we want to pick a small habit is we want to pick something which is easy to implement, so that you have quick wins and you feel good about it, and so that you will continue about it. Okay, and then slowly you can set higher targets. You can increase your targets step by step. In fact, these habits, it might appear small, but they go a really long way in achieving huge growth in a very short time. I wanted to share a small example of my personal experience recently, what happened. So I knew about this habit since about 6 months or so. I started implementing in different ways. And of course, I was already doing a few parts of it, like having smoothies for years now. Okay, that's an amazing habit to have. And then during this Navaratri, I wanted to share one other experience. Maybe I'll stop the share so I can explain this better. Okay, so what happened recently was, most recently during this Navaratri, I came across a new habit. I always look for, okay, I have some habits now. Okay, what else I can do? Because there are so many unlimited habits to acquire. So there is no end to that. And it's good to be always on the lookout and keep adding one by one to your arsenal, so that you really become very powerful and you can achieve whatever you want to achieve. So coming back to the story, so what happened was during the Navaratri, I came to know one habit called we have so many powers in us. They call it Ashtashakti. In fact, this is from Sister Shivani. And she said, okay, there are 8 powers in us, and those powers are so beautiful. They nourish our soul, body, mind, and soul. And if you cultivate that consciously and as a habit, then you become really powerful. And the first power of that is called power to detach, which means you withdraw from an emotion which is being disturbed by you, by a situation or a person or whatever happened to you, and think calmly and think about what you need to do next, and stay calm and always take action in a positive manner. Okay, that's in brief about that power. I started cultivating it. Every few days, I keep on repeating that. And again, I see, of course, I have plenty of chance to practice because the children may not listen to you, they might disturb you, or sometimes something gets annoyed at the work. There's so many times you can practice. So I got aware and aware whenever my ego gets hurt, whenever I get disturbed, whenever I get angry. So that became less and less and less. When you practice over small things, suddenly a big thing happens. Even then you remain calm. That's the beauty of these habits. These habits come in handy whenever you really need them. So something happened just a few days back, about a week back. What happened? I was enjoying a nice game of badminton with my son. So that's another habit I picked up recently as part of my exercise during the pandemic. They opened up the malls for some sports exercises, and I was really enjoying with my son and a few other friends a nice game of badminton. And I was playing a high shot, and we are going neck and neck with our points, and I was taking it very seriously. And suddenly my shoe slipped. And when my shoe slipped and I reached high to hit the high shot, and I landed with full force on my left arm. It's just about 4-5 days back. This is on Sunday. And within a few seconds, I could see I was in intense pain. And immediately I got up a few seconds later and looked at it, looked at my hand. Suddenly there was a protrusion outside. So it was very obvious that it's broken. And there was immediately a swelling and obviously followed by pain. So it took me just a minute to take composure. And immediately I was able to calm myself. And then immediately I could think, okay, I asked my friend to call the doctor, then asked my son to call my wife, and quickly identified which is the best hospital to go, whether it's the nearest one, or should I call my friend who happened to be an ortho surgeon in my own badminton group. And within no time, and again I looked, it was my left arm. And the first thing which came was the practice of gratitude came to me. And immediately I was so grateful, it is my left arm and not my right hand, which means I can continue to work. My work will not get disturbed. And the second thing which came was, okay, I was never grateful that we have 2 hands and not just one. So I can still continue to work and I do a lot of work. So that was the second thought. Again, feeling of gratefulness. And this feeling of detaching from that disturbing situation, the feeling of detaching from the intense pain, the feeling of detachment from a setback. So it came in very handy, and it came in so beautifully and naturally. So this is how, I wanted to relate that basically to inspire you. So this is how it can happen. So, and I can show you, this is my arm right now. I'm in a sling. You can see my fingers are still a little bit swollen. And I had a few hours later, I had a meeting to attend. I didn't want to cancel anything because I didn't want to let anything else disturb me, because it's not that everything comes to a standstill. Then immediately after that, another thought came to me. Okay, we always say everything happens for good. What is that good which can happen out of a fracture? I was thinking about it. I even did a video and shared in my group of Toastmasters, where I recently took up another challenge of 21-day creating videos every single day. So that day video was what happened in my life and what the lessons I have learned from that day. So, so that habit continued. So I'm relating everything back to the habits which came in handy, and then habits make you so powerful. And the last part of it, what I wanted to share was that it's so beautiful. So I quickly, immediately calculated, okay, the power of detachment. So immediately I was able to apply that, then plan my the journey to my hospital. And and fortunately it was straightened out by my other surgeon friend and put into a plaster. So, and then the best part was, I didn't have to have what is the surgery, which would have been worse. And I did not need to had any plates, and I got the best advice from a doctor. So this finally was my visit after several years, 4 years of not visiting a hospital, and due to emergency, I had to visit that. Okay, that's a brief experience of how habits can come in handy. What can happen in even in death? You're using that, turning it into a positive aspect. Okay, that's exactly what I did when my father expired. Okay, how is that now? Can I contribute in some way to health of others? Okay, that's how we turned it into a positive. Okay, another positive I just remembered is that I always thinking, okay, my children should learn cooking, healthy cooking all by themselves. Okay, they do a little bit of it, but not to the extent I would have loved them to do. Okay, now what, as a positive of this, what happened was, okay, every day morning I do a smoothie. Now my daughter has voluntarily taken on this role, and she's now preparing beautiful smoothies every single day in the last 5 days. Okay, that's a positive which is amazingly happening. Another positive I could see was now I get extra dose of a shower of affection, and of course my family is there to support me. So that's another big positive. And there are plenty of positives if you look at it. Okay, tough time do not last, tough people do. Yeah, thanks Shima. That's a beautiful way to take it. Okay, and then we were in breaking bad habits. Yes, we can come out of those habits. Okay, once we pick up these small habits, as you can see, the small habits will, within no time, within few weeks or months, will have a huge positives. And each month you will progress even further and further beyond that. Okay, now coming to the next step number 3. Now the important thing is, if you can link that to an existing habit which is already in place. For example, every day we wake up, every day we brush our teeth, every day we have a bath, every day we have breakfast. If you can connect that smoothie to breakfast, which means before smoothie breakfast, I would want to have a smoothie. Or soon after waking up, I want to go for a jog. Soon after brushing my teeth, maybe I will have a glass of water. And just before my sleeping, I want to have a gratitude prayer. This is how you connect the new habit with the existing habit. Is that clear? Okay, once you connect that habit with a trigger, this is what we call trigger. So soon after getting up is a trigger. Soon after 6 o'clock is a trigger. Just breakfast is a trigger. So this becomes a trigger, and you connect the new habit you want to develop with an existing habit which is already firmly in place. And that's the beauty of a trigger, how it does the work. And then on top of that, you add an additional way to remind yourself. Use your alarm clocks, you use your sticky notes, you ask a family member to remind you, they will be happy to support you. Okay, these are the ways you can make more things to work in your favor. So you need to get your momentum in the path of your new habit. Whenever you form a habit, the initial part is tough. You have a huge resistance. Just like when there's a rocket which takes off from the earth, there's a huge resistance of the atmosphere. You need so much energy, so much fuel has to be consumed in the first stage of it. So that's where you need more momentum. You pick a small habit, put your triggers, set your alarms, set your reminders, so that will help you going. And after that, we have step number 4, which is to make a commitment. So the commitment is, there are some people who care a lot. For example, your family, your maybe your club of Toastmasters or a SHARAN group or a social group. You make a commitment and tell them, okay, now I'm having a habit of green smoothie. Now I'm having a habit of working out in the morning. Now I'm having a habit of speaking every single day somewhere in a speaking club. So that becomes a commitment. Recently, I took a commitment of doing a single video every single day for 21 days. So of course I skipped for 1 or 2 days, and I found a reason why I skipped it. So you need to do that, a new habit, quite early before your energy runs out. Okay, and this commitment, because I made a commitment in a group, so it got me back again and again. So you were able to push yourself a little bit harder. Okay, so that's the advantage of making a commitment. Okay, now we move on to step number 5. Okay, another interesting thing which happens in a habit formation is, many times we think of the habit and overcomplicate it and then get overwhelmed by it. For example, you want to go for a jog. Okay, let's say you want to plan for a jog for 1 kilometer. You think of, okay, do I have to run for 1 full kilometer? How do I feel exhausted? You start giving reasons, and then you may not even get started. So instead, the trick is, if you can focus on the start of the habit, which is nothing but just putting on your shoes. So that's the simplest thing. Or if you want to do yoga, you just spread your mat. Or if you want to do a smoothie, just got your momentum started. You're not complicating it. You're no more giving reasons. That's a beautiful tip I got. And this is amazing how it works. So now I want to do a video, which I took for my recent challenge. All that I do is I just switch on my camera and then start talking, and then slowly everything falls in place. Of course, you can have multiple retakes. That's how the initial inertia can be overcome. Just focus on the start and rest will follow. Okay, that's a beautiful tip. Try and see if you can adopt that. Once you do this, next step is, okay, you started doing the activity. Now it's good to report that. Okay, there's a sense of accomplishment. Okay, just had your first smoothie, you feel great. Share it with someone. It could be your family member, it could be a colleague, it could be a group you trust, and your friends you want to trust their opinion. Share it with them. And it can be even a public group. It could be a WhatsApp group, it could be a Facebook group. So you just share, and that feels amazing, not only for you, and they'll be surprised that so many people will support you. So I had amazing support in my Toastmasters club. Every time I post a video there, and then many people support me, and that keeps you a habit going even further. Okay, so that's another nice a trick you can use to help your habit. Okay, what if you have not done that day? Do you still have to report? What do you think? For example, I forgot today to go for a jog, or I forgot to do a smoothie today. So do you think you should report that day to your accountability group or social accountability partner or not? What do you think? Okay, yes, Sharan, yeah, okay. Who else? Yes, you should. Okay, Ian, okay. It keeps you accountable, Prem, yeah. Thanks, Shashi and everyone, Sabha. Yes, that's the beautiful tip. Even if you have failed one day, for example, I skipped my video for whatever reasons, and of course I knew the reasons later. Then I mentioned that, okay, I missed one video yesterday or something like that. So then people still supported me. So people do understand we are human, and all of us are human, and then we might slip. All that is important when you slip is to understand why you slipped, and then recommit yourself and come back with vengeance and get your support, and then understand the reasons and remove those reasons which cause you to slip. That's exactly what I did. When I missed doing video for a day, I realized I postponed it to end of the day where my energy levels were so low. So next I realized, okay, my energy is high. That's when I finish my habit first, and then I do smaller things. Okay, that's how you overcome it. Okay, finally we go to step number 7, which is harnessing your mind. Okay, your mind has some amazing powers, and we always need to fill that with positive mind. Suppose you started on your habit of losing weight, and then you wanted to start with green smoothie and exercise and a few other things. Then suddenly doubt creeps in. Okay, can I really lose, or can I still do this, or is it temporary, or what if my weight comes back? So let's say you doubt your mind. When you start doubting, then that you're giving scope to negative emotions, and whatever emotions and vibrations you feel, that is what is likely to happen. There's a nice saying which says thoughts manifest, or sankalp se siddhi. So you visualize and you make the full use of your mind, and you think of that you've already achieved your perfect weight, you already achieved whatever you want to achieve, and think of the reward, think of all the positive feelings, and let that reward already manifest in your mind first, then it will happen in your reality. Okay, that's how you align your mind along with your habit. Okay, so this is the final step. So I will recap quickly what are the various things we have done. First thing is, we always begin with a strong why. Then you pick a simple habit, and so that you quickly achieve it and then form it, and then you level up yourself a little bit higher and higher. Then you set up a simple daily trigger. It could be waking up, it could be a specific time, it could be a reminder through something else. So you link it with an existing habit which is already firmly in place, so that your new habit gets linked to that. Then you make a commitment to a family member or a colleague or a social group. Then you focus on the start of the habit and not the entire habit to which bogs you down. Then you report every single day so that you're accountable. And when you remember that, okay, I made a promise to this group, or I made a promise to your family, you definitely don't want to let them down, right? So that helps you in your favor, and whatever helps you, you should make use of it. These are simple tricks, but help you in forming really powerful, healthy habits. And finally, get the full power of your mind. Your mind is amazing, and visualize. You use the power of visualization, use the power of positive emotion, and see that already it has happened. Match your vibration with what you want to desire, so that it becomes easy to achieve. Okay, that in brief is the summary of the 7 steps. So thank you for joining us today. And